And let me take off this outfit while we do this. We don't want to get in there. All right. Well, welcome everybody to
Okay, let
Corvus
me
Twigs, Bird of the Day.
right
I
on.
am joined today by the wonderful, the amazing Gilbert Goose. Now, Gilbert Goose,
Hmm.
quite a sophisticated goose, aren't you? You live at home, take care of yourself. You have a level of sophistication. What I'm saying is you're not wild and crazy. Not too wild and crazy. Yeah, you're able to take care of yourself because that would make you
Hmm.
a domesticated goose. And thus, today's bird of the day is a domestic. It just says bird, but today's bird of the day is a domestic goose. And I didn't save my PowerPoint properly. And where it says
I'm
bird
trying
up
to.
there, it's supposed to say domestic goose. Pretend it says domestic goose up there, folks. It says that's what it says up there. It
Is that
says,
loud? Is he louder now? Sorry.
am I louder now? I'm sorry. Louder. We need a loud bird. But yes, today's bird of the day is the domestic goose, and wow,
Hmm.
what a what a bird. Whoa, there's a lot to say about this bird. Oh, let me tell you. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
need to tell you. I mean, you are a domestic goose.
Yes. Good amount.
Yes. So, a little bit of information about the domestic goose. Well,
Hmm.
pretty big bird, 2.5 to 3.6 feet long. It's a
Yeah.
big bird. It's a big bird.
Hmm.
And then they can have a 2.5, which is pretty small, and that's usually when they're like bred to have small wings. But all the way up to a 6.1 foot wingspan. Woo! That's wingspan taller, longer than most humans are tall. Not all humans, but most humans. And wow, weigh anyway from 15 to 32 pounds. That's that actually makes them one of the heaviest birds that still flies. Not the heaviest, but yeah, one of the heaviest birds that can also still fly. So
Hmm.
they chunky. I mean, I'm not calling you fat. No, they're
we're round. We're
they're
round, and we
thick
like
and
it.
hardy and muscular. Let's put it that way. They got some muscle on them. And they got a pretty good lifespan, 20 to 25 years. That makes them actually kind of like in the top 20% as far as lifespan for birds goes. It's usually only like parrots and some other, but in seriforms, which is the order they're in, they have typically longer lifespans than your average bird. And
Mhm.
seriforms being the order of birds that is more commonly known as waterfowl. Um, you
Mhm.
consider yourself to be fowl?
I mean, I'm a
Fowl
goose.
goose.
It's just
Yeah,
in my
you are
nature.
fowl goose. And they're
Yeah.
in the family Anatidae, which puts them in the same family as ducks and, most of the wild geese. In fact, they have some pretty close relatives of geese and stuff, so it's like, pretty closely related to your Canada goose, and there's some wild geese across the Eurasian continent that they're pretty closely related to. But the interesting thing with the domestic goose is that it's one of the birds that, well, I mean, you could call it a subspecies or you could call it a breed. But because they are domesticated, they refer to it as breeds. So there's many, many different breeds of the domestic goose. Kind of like you have different breeds
Hmm.
of dog. It's like they're both still technically, Canis domesticus, but technically, Schnauzer is the same species as German Shepherd is the same species as a pug. Kind of the same way with geese. You know, what I'm saying is there's a lot of variety, and we like variety here, don't we? We like variety.
Hmm.
It's what
Of
makes you
course.
unique, which makes you cool and different and interesting. You know what breed you are? Probably just the American breed, the VTuber.
It's.
Answer Domesticus VTuberus.
No, it's specific type of goose that it's based off of. It's Emden. I think the Emden goose.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe.
Cool.
It's been a while since I've said that like name in general. I haven't used that since like creating the character.
Nice, nice. All right, well, a little bit more information about them. Hey, look, you're on there.
Look, it's me.
It's you.
It's me.
Well, the domesticated goose is actually the bird that has been domesticated by humans longer than any other, with the single exception of the chicken. The chicken's the only bird that's been domesticated longer than the domestic goose. But you're number two. Number two is not bad. I mean, 3,000 years ago. I mean, that's a long time ago. Long time ago.
Long
Um,
history. I love it.
but you know, geese they're actually a very useful animal, and they're good around the farms. I mean, we know they have. Well, let's just. There's really no nice way to put this. Geese have
Drink
a bit
some
of a
water.
reputation as being a little bit of troublemakers. But honestly, I think the domestic goose, it really depends from goose to goose. Um, they're very useful on farms. A lot of the stuff that they eat, they farmers use them as weed control, and they will, because they are omnivorous. So they eat bugs and stuff, but they mostly are vegetarian. The domestic goose really actually prefers vegetables and seeds and grains and grasses and stuff over insects. It's so yeah. Most anseriforms are actually fish eaters, but the domestic goose has really been bred to be mostly vegetarian. So yeah, as weed control on a farm, very useful for the farmers. Of course, if they're not careful, they might eat some of the foods that they're not supposed to eat. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But they're actually pretty social animals. You can have a goose in the same pen as a pig or a horse or goats and stuff, and they'll get along pretty good. Goose and goats living side by side in harmony. So they're a kind of animal that's just great to have around a farm. Um, and another thing that makes them very useful is, well, you have yourself a goose egg, and a goose hen can lay up to 50 eggs a year. I mean, that's not quite chicken output, but that's still, you got a bunch of geese on your farm, and they're laying 50 eggs a year. That's a pretty good constant supply of eggs. Not bad,
Mm-hmm.
not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so an interesting thing, another thing that separates the domestic goose from wild geese is wild geese typically will mate for life. And they're, second to fourth year of life, they'll pick a mate, and they will stay with that mate until one of them dies. The domestic goose, well, let's just say they're swingers. They like to mix it up, and gonna stick with one goose partner for their life. They're gonna, and part of that is just because that's just kind of the way that humans raised them. Yeah, it's the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way they do. And it's fine. We're not saying that monogamy or polygamy is better or worse. It's just what people choose to do. And so we got a nice farm with a good goosey polycule. Good for them. Good for them. I mean, I'd be remiss because you've seen a picture of it on every single page. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about one of the most famous goose-related video games of the last
Mm-hmm.
5 years. We all know the Untitled Goose game. We're all familiar with it. Going through, causing chaos. You've played that on stream, I assume, right?
Actually, no.
What?
It is one of the most requested and asked games. Actually, I actually
I've
never played it on stream.
And the first time in all of Bird of the Day, I am speech. No, actually, no. After some of the comments Bonito made last time on the Pummel, I was speechless then too. But that's a shocker, a shocker. Well, I mean, I would recommend it. I think you'd have fun doing it. But if it's not your type of game, it's not your type of game. Yeah. But that's just one example of the domestic goose being seen in pop culture and folklore.
Mm-hmm.
One of the earliest examples of it is there was the Greek god Charites, and rode a flying chariot that was pulled by geese. How about that? How about that? Of course, the legend of Mother Goose. Many of those great little fairy tales and legends and stuff. We got the Mother Goose.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very common with the children's folklore and literature. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the lesser known Egyptian gods, Geb, had the head of a goose. So, seen in that. And I don't have it listed here in the PowerPoint, but of course oh wait. No, never mind. I was thinking in Hot Fuzz, but that's a swan rather than a goose, isn't it? I mean, swans, geese, same thing. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Just a little bit of a longer neck. Okay.
I mean, you're both in Serapharbs, and you're both in Day, so it's close enough. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, the domestic goose, pretty popular bird, pretty well known around the world. I mean, literally found there isn't a single country where the domestic goose is not found. So it's like I don't
Mhm.
even bother with the range map because it's like, all right, here's the world. You see this blue section? They don't live there. You see that white thing at the bottom? They don't live there either. They live everywhere else. I mean, obviously the populations are going to be much more
Mhm.
dense in certain areas than others. Obviously, areas that are closer to water, there's going to be more farmers that have them. You're not going to
Mhm.
see a whole lot of the domestic goose in northern Canada. You're going to see the Canada goose up there. But wherever
Oh
there's
yeah.
usually wherever there's people, there's the domestic goose. Not as widespread as the chicken, but the domestic goose is actually one of the top 10 most populous birds in the world. And
I like
well,
that number.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the domestic chicken is number one. It's like
I mean,
it's almost
that's
30
a given.
billion, almost 30
Yeah.
billion chickens, but there's definitely hundreds of millions of domestic geese in the world. The exact population is one that I tried looking it up, and I couldn't actually find an exact number on it because it's like they don't do a census on it. Ornithologists aren't like doing studies on their population, so it's just really
Mhm.
more of an estimate. But say there's a lot of you. There's a lot of you. But the only VTuber I know is the Gilbert Goose.
Yes.
Yes, so wonderful, so wonderful. So my thoughts, Corvus thoughts. Well, I think that picture pretty much says it all.
The
Ah,
teeth are my favorite part of people finding out about geese, you know?
yeah. Well, and the funny thing is that they see those teeth and ridge things on there, and it looks like it's oh my gosh, this thing's a terrifying predator. But really, what that's for is for like ripping and tearing grass to make it more
Mhm.
digestible. It's those are vegetarian teeth, not in the spined tongue. Yeah, it's all part about it's about snagging grasses and stuff. It's not actually as terrifying as it looks. It's it's interesting. So it's like okay, I'm not gonna lie, folks. If Gilbert wasn't here, I'd probably be trash talking the uh the domestic goose a lot more. Uh, they're scary waterfowl, and I don't like them. But boy, the domestic goose is so great, and I'm so glad to be collaborating with one of them right here. Please don't hurt me. And it's ah, I mean, I gotta say, it's like I've played the Untitled Goose game, and I had a lot of fun
Mhm.
playing that game. It's just like I have to say, it's like they're not as big as jerks as seagulls or the Canada goose. The domestic goose, they're cool.
Yeah.
They're like the they're the cultured cousin to they're the Carlton to the Canada goose's Will Smith. I'm sorry, that's the
Drink
best
some water.
metaphor I could come up with. I mean,
I'll
those are
take it.
my thoughts. Gilbert, obviously being a goose yourself, why? What do you have to say about the domestic goose?
Well, I mean, I obviously love them, like I am one.
Yeah,
But I mean, I love the fact that it's more like,
um,
as a goose, you kind of have free reign. People are scared of you in any
yeah,
way, shape, or form, except when you're on their table. Which is why my chat is usually foaming at the mouth, waiting to eat me.
yeah. But I think we can all agree if you're having a big meal and you want to have a bird on the center of your table, you're far better going with a turkey than a goose.
Exactly.
Geese are much more muscular and need a lot more. They got to be slow cooked. They got the
Hmm.
tougher meats. Eat turkey, not goose.
Yeah.
Use a goose for the eggs. And ow, keep having geese thrown at me.
Amazing.
Yeah, but yeah. So the domestic goose, good bird. One of the pretty high up there for Ansara farms. Though. I mean, there's some ducks that give you a run for your money, but yeah, I like I like them, kinda. It's the goose. They're cute. They keep having geese thrown at me, so I don't know how cute they are. Maybe we should end this before I get pelted to death by geese. or beaten to death by Gilbert. But we're okay. We're gonna call this bird of the day done. So thanks for watching, everybody.